counteracts that plan to some degree. But, well, good effort. Good effort overall. As you get situated, we're going to talk about this game. VP versus T1, game 2 of this best of 5 grand finals. T1, of course, with that game 1 victory. Both teams looking really sharp, as this smoke is going to be broken up to a degree by Carl here, who's getting pinged now. What are your thoughts on this lineup from both respective sides, Mr. Lacoste?
I feel like the story of these two teams throughout this whole tournament has been how to either counter Enchantress or how to get the most out of the Enchantress in the laning stage. So I want to see how many sentries Enchantress is going to buy to be able to get the big creep and do something in the lane. This is a position 4 Enchantress this time around. Wyvern will be played as Kingslayer, so that means 5. But talking about the drafts in general, whenever I see Lion, it always just feels good to have him. They also pick Juggernaut into BKB piercing ability, which is mag, and also you have Viper on top of it. It doesn't stop him from TPing, but still goes through magic immunity.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of these. I mean, talked about this last game, but Wyvern is basically picked every single game, as we've seen, and teams are starting to adjust a bit. You have Viper Strike for it, along with Nether Toxin. You have the burst damage from Lion as well. So, and of course, you can skewer the very stationary targets. So teams are really ready for this Wyvern. Do you think it's still strong enough to pick? Because last game, I mean, a couple scenarios where the Cold Embrace is just ridiculous.
This is just a hero that if you don't have the tools to deal damage through the heal, like you pretty much win the game off of that.
Yeah. So do you think they have enough tools this time around?
Lion with the finger possibly. Viper is okay-ish, nothing spectacular. I guess my top 3 would be Invoker, Spirit Vessel.
Okay.
Ton of damage coming out from him. Either that, maybe Timbersaw. Maybe
Okay.
Timbersaw is the top 1 for me. And then I think Sanking is a pretty damn good one.
Oh, all right. Can we get all 3 of those in the same lineup one of these days? That'd be great. Just terrific. But yeah, still some burst at least on their side as T1 getting things kicked off here in the top lane. DM getting pressured a bit on this Centaur War Runner, as Whitemon's going to take the brunt of the damage from this Arctic Burn from Kingslayer. But let's talk about this mid lane. This is always the most interesting lane in general. It's going to be GPK on the Lina versus Carl's Magnus, as the LSA is actually going to miss here.
Carl doing a much better job than I expected. Like, first couple of waves might be a bit rough with the Magnus. You're playing into Lina, so there's always going to be that harassment coming out from the just either right clicks or LSA. You get close, top lane.
That is first blood. Down goes DM. So T1 off to a good start in this lane. Of course, they have the double stun potential here with the Wraith King and the Lion. Overall, pretty strong lane in general. And we actually saw, I forget who it was, that maxed out Wraith Fire Blast. I forget.
Yeah, there was a one
purpose
game.
for
I
that
don't
was.
also remember which one was it, but this was like a fighting Wraith King. I believe there was reason why, because they had Agility Hero on a mid lane that also scales, so you just wanted to be able to buy a bit more time, fight early on with the team. This time around, no shenanigans. Vampiric Spirit, 2 points in it, going into Armlet, which I really like, because it's a guaranteed crit off your Armlet with the Mortal Strike.
Yeah, that's true. And, I mean, we've been seeing basically the same build, Armlet into Radiance most of the time. Radiance, or Armlet allows you to just fight right away, and then Radiance kind of secures the game in a lot of these times where you just snowball as the Wraith King.
Against Alliance, he decided to go for a different item build, just Armlet into Blink Dagger, because they needed to execute the combo better. They had the Grimstrokes, a double stun, double doom. Made a lot of sense in just being able to jump the backlines.
Yeah, we have Mr. Juggernaut himself, Nightfall. This is not a hero we get to see that often anymore, despite most people saying he's still good. But why don't we see this hero more often?
There's so many BKB piercing abilities, and since Wyvern gained a lot of popularity, it's just, I'm not going to say unplayable, but it's really tough. There's always going to be a threat killing your own teammates. Heal, you can't use Omni Slash on top of it, and it feels like Juggernaut just needs a steroid at the moment, needs to be paired up with the Magnus, which is something that Alliance did very effectively in one of their games. Lina, 19 against 17 on the mid lane. GPK putting a ton of pressure on Mag.
Yeah, Carl has to skewer out. And basically the CS is close to being even. Not a huge advantage either side, but
Juggernaut just using a spin casually to show which
dominance.
Abilities he has. Very nice.
You got to make sure it works for sure. He actually has a Battle Fury queued up, so this is an item that feels like you can't buy these days, or at least players are not buying them.
For a reason, it's just too slow. Especially if Wraith King gets Armlet, you show up in a fight with possibly like a broadsword, maybe a claymore, or just a ring. You actually don't do much compared to Wraith King, who could potentially just have 2 lives. You can't burst him. There's just not enough damage.
Ooh, that is a big courier card. That's a Ring of Health for DM. So obviously the Vanguard is what he's going for. Is they're going to get the Earth Spike in the top lane, but don't think they're going to be able to find a kill as Kingslayer or 23 Savage, I should say, is just focusing on the creeps here. But yeah, I mean, the typical build that we've been seeing when Juggernaut is picked is kind of the Maelstrom into either SNY or Manta, depending on which is better, into Shard. Do a lot of damage with the Blade Fury, gives you that extra move speed, gives you more options later in the game. Then into attack speed into like an Aghanim Scepter or something like that. But Battle Fury, we'll see. We'll see what he does with that if he actually continues to build into it.
Might change his mind. If he buys a full ring, then he's committed. Like,
yeah.
You can't turn that ring into anything, so we'll have to see. Cuckoo, it's just gonna TP out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, all right, canceled it.
Get a kill here.
Yeah, Blade Fury with the impetus damage. He pops the Fairy Fire. This is gonna be pretty close. Nightfall taking a lot of damage from the tower, puts down the healing ward in turn, and both players are actually gonna live. I think Cuckoo was TPing the base, right? So I think it might have been one of those fake outs where he was hoping that they would just back off and let him go.
Might actually backfire. If you need to walk back from the base while they killed you and you use 100 gold PP, that's pretty big. I love the Cuckoo. I think AY talked about him as being the best Viper throughout the major. Not going for Road of Atos type of a build. We're going to see that one again on the replay. He's TPing tier 1 tower, but it's a long TP because Abba already TP'd, so he had to stop. He realized, you know, they might still go for me. It's going to take some time.
Save. Has the Centaur creep. Carl getting pressured again. We'll have to skewer to safety. Level 6 right now as the Centaur continues on. Not sure if they can actually pressure this any further, but there is a siege there. So the tower, at the very least, will be taking heavy damage. And Kingslayer has even come to help out as well. Zephyr playing the Abaddon this time around.
This is a dead tower. They definitely didn't need a Kingslayer there, but he's there just to be able to secure it. GPK gets the last hit with your Arcane Rune. He can just keep spamming the spell. Low cooldown, low mana cost.
Yeah, and that is a 6.5 minute tier 1 mid as a Lina. Not too shabby. Obviously, the Enchantress helping out quite a bit. As you can see, the average time is just over 10 minutes. And the 541. Have we not really had a level 1 tower taken out of the car?
We had that during NA, DPC Season 2, and then a Chinese team tried to copy it. They killed it super fast, lost the game in 12 minutes. I believe it was Sparking Arrow Gaming.
Yeah, something like that. As Cuckoo getting spotted out, the Blade Fury with the impetus damage on the side. So Nightfall finally getting the kill that he feels like he deserved not too long ago. And he is doing okay. I mean, 2,700 net worth versus the 3,600. Basically 1,000 net worth difference here between him and 23 Savage.
23 Savage kind of reminds me of Hector when he was playing TI9. Like, he was super efficient with the farming. That's how efficient 23 Savage is this particular tournament, Season 2 and Animajor.
Yeah, we hear the Stampede, so it looks like it's just for the retreat here for DM. As Cuckoo's still not level 6 yet, so you can see that there is a 1K net worth lead for VP, which is kind of crazy considering the lead that 23 Savage has. And there's no, like, gold amplifiers. I mean, he's farming pretty fast, obviously, but there's no Doom. Obviously no Alchemist because he's not picked anymore. Great hero, by the way. Hope that we get to see that in this finals.
Yeah, can't wait until someone... Like, if there's going to be Game 5, one team is just, you know what? We're bringing that Alchemist. We've even seen in the first game, Silencer.
That's
hero
right.
That was not picked at all during the major.
And I think we saw why. As the Centaur Stomp will be there. Hoof Stomp's going to be canceled, but Laguna Blade finishes off Cuckoo. Is now Whitemon trying to juke his way around the trees. They did get some vision. LSA's not going to connect, though. Nightfall in the vicinity. Nice Earth Spike there. He actually pops a Fairy Fire as well, because the impetus wasn't quite enough damage, but...
Can he juke this?
No, there's...
I don't think so.
Let's make a bet.
There's a way. Wait a minute.
Wait a second. The spin? Yeah, he finally... I mean, a lot of space created. That took an extra 20 seconds.
Still not enough.
I was going to bet something on Jenkins' behalf, but I chose not to because he's had a rough time so far because he did
He
just
really
duel
did.
him.
He had to work through this whole event with us, so we gotta take it easy on him. Problem is DM, I don't think he's killable at the moment. Just sitting with the Vanguard, the Magic Stick. We even see Kingslayer using a heal to bring him back to full HP. They need to have a finger, which is not gonna be online for quite some time. Lion, only level 4 at the moment.
Yeah, he's gonna have to walk. Whitemon level 4. He has that smoke available to use whenever he wants. 2-1-1 build right now. Is Zephyr playing the Abaddon? I know he's played this before, but it doesn't feel like a Zephyr hero.
There was one game during the major when he played Abba position 4. I believe he managed to get a mech, even a Solar Crest, just tank it up, but this time around, Lion will need to be like the playmaking 4. Yeah. Cuckoo will drop one more time.
He gets the Viper Strike out, but knowing he was dead anyway, GPK is just going to get healed, so most of that damage will be mitigated in the end.
Big timing for them is going to be a Blink Dagger on Magnus, because right now they don't have any way to start a fight. And also Armlet on Raid King, which just got finished, farming up the Ancient Camp, which usually you can't do with Raid King unless you have Empower, which just ran off, so he will need some assistance from Carl.
He gets slowed from the enchant, gets the Earth Spike off as the rotation from Cuckoo's here, but yeah, they just don't have anything to be able to kill Nightfall, at least not yet. You talked about the RP potential that will go through the Blade Fury, and I mean, other than that, they don't really have anything to stop that spin TP, worst case scenario for them. But yeah, Blink Daggers will be huge. We can talk about the other Blink Dagger, of course, from DM. He is about 800 away from finishing that. So, and the fact that Carl's actually going for Blink before Echo Saber, what are your thoughts on that? Do you like that this game around? Because a lot of times we do see the Echo Saber first to allow you to just amplify your farm a little bit more. And
in this game, I think he understands that his job is like not to carry the game. Raid King will be in charge of that, and also Cuckoo's itemization. He goes for a different one. It's not Rod of Atos anymore. It's Dragon Scale into BKB, into Scotty, something that he's done. So having an initiator, they understand that they need to fight right now. So when they get a Blink Dagger on Mag, they will smoke and try to go for a kill. Whitemon, he's also level 6, so a lot of burst potential. Where is the smoke? There is one online right now, so...
Yep, now that he has his level 6, they can definitely burst somebody down. His save is actually in the area, but the Centaur creep is going to be spotting out T1. And it looks like they should be able to take him out. Deny, not going to be there. But the Deny on the ward is there for Whitemon, so end up getting a better trade there. But you see the Tier 1 now taking some action as DM trying to defend, has the 4 levels of return. Retaliate. God, the fact that they changed that makes me so sad, actually.
They changed that ability so many times. So
yeah.
You can see a sad face, and there's the smoke that I mentioned. Time to grab a kill. Haste on Magnus is available. So could potentially just skewer people back instead of initiating with the RP.
Yep, for
and
sure.
Virtus.Pro, they know something's cooking. They're hiding inside the trees. They did not see Magnus for quite some time, so they probably know
Feels
Blink
like
RP is available.
Feels like both teams always know what the other is doing.
Because they're so good. Like,
yeah.
There's a reason why these two teams are...
Oh, Carl!
Right now. Oh,
the instant
nice
Yule
done.
Scepter. LSA's not going to be, but the curse is instead. A lot of damage being applied to Whitemon. Trying to get healed, but there's the Bleed Fury to come through. And that is going to be 2 easy kills, even with the RP after the fact. Completely wasted. Carl still ends up dying, and now the impetus damage from Zephyr, he should be able to shake it off with the borrowed time, which he has not skilled yet. Still has that point available.
Nicely done there by GPK. He uses Yule Scepter straight away when he blinks in, set things up for LSA. Centaur also jumps in. That's Blink Dagger on a Centaur, I believe. And he can disassemble. I don't think there's a reason to like have a Vanguard. You can disassemble it and get the Hood instead, because there's much more magic damage rather than the right clicks.
Mm-hmm. You're not scared of those skeletons?
Oh, yeah. Especially if he gets the shard.
Oh,
the extra
true,
3
yeah.
skellies.
Yeah, this Yule's was instantaneous. That's like a bot. That is... I don't know how people do this, man. That's crazy.
Mouse. I believe that was the...
Their mouse is just that good. DM gets the double hook stomp there. Oh! Yeah, with the Finger of Death is enough damage to take him out in the end, so... T1 able to get a return kill here.
Even with losing tier 1 tower on the mid lane and losing the top tower, T1, they're still keeping up with the farm. Like, they didn't manage to kill a single tier 1 tower. Next big timing for them, Radiance on the Raid King. They might try to go and like get a pick off and just keep them busy while Raid King is farming.
Yeah.
They know the Ancient camp is blocked, so Whitemon will take care of the business.
All right, so let's look at the farm here. So 1,200 net worth discrepancy between the Jug and the Wraith King. And like you said, Wraith King about 1,000 away from finishing the Sacred Relic portion of the Radiance. But on the other side, Nightfall did get his Battle Fury, so his farm should amplify, and we'll see if he's able to catch up to... I mean, when you get to like mid to late game, how do you look at this matchup between these two carries? Do
If
you
you're
favor one or
able
the
to
other?
take out Wyvern, I'm still siding with the Magnus and Raid King, because Radiance mischance, you don't care too much about the Omni Slash, definitely not the target that you want to use it on. You also don't have the burst potential against Abba, maybe Lina level 2 ulti, but not that easy to execute. I've seen a lot of different approaches when it comes to Abba versus like Lion. Sometimes teams prioritize to pick Abba into Lion, sometimes it's the other way around, because you can just burst him before he can get any spells off.
As Whitemon, we've seen him before play this line where he gets super fast blinks, but I don't think that's happening this game.
Not this game, because there needs to be a lot of warding happening, sitting at the only 1,700 net worth at the moment. Issue is Baron, he doesn't farm. Like, he doesn't have ways of pushing the waves, doesn't have any ability, so you just have to use a Photic Shield, get a couple of right clicks going. Good thing is they have a good scaling lineup, and the itemization that we talked about, Cuckoo going for that Dragon Lance into BKB, just tanking up, and I believe his next item is just going to be Scotty, because neither Magnus nor Raid King loves to buy it.
Yeah, and that's kind of the reason I brought up the fact that Zephyr is playing the Abaddon. It just doesn't feel like his hero, because you're not getting farm in this hero ever. Like, you're basically, your entire job is just to sit behind somebody and get the Aphotic Shield off if they get gone on. But we'll see how it works out for them. I mean, right now they are behind in terms of net worth, despite having the top net worth hero in the game right now. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the supports are just not the farming type supports overall.
Yeah, because Raid King done a lot of stacks so far with that Empower, getting very close to Radiance. This is where they're going to be try to make stuff happen. And you also want to have level 2 ulti, that's the big timing, so a ton of damage coming out just from him.
Yeah, and for Nightfall side, we talked about the typical build with the Battle Fury, as we're going to see. Yep, Cuckoo able to do a lot of damage. The Stampede's not going to be enough to save, as we're going to have the initiation now onto the Wraith King. Has enough space been created, though. 23 Savage is more than fine. Now the heals come out again. Not
the best execution on the top, because you want to... Like, Abba was the second TP. Yeah. Instead, it should have been the one who can stop the TP.
Spike. Oh! Finger of Death. Kingslayer is donezo. Hoofstomp's going to be there. See a little mana drain action going on, but DM will just walk this off. And you're... The fact that you... I mean, yeah, you brought up the fact that DM could take this apart, but he's actually going to keep the Vanguard, it looks like. So we'll be just going for both Hood, Vanguard, and of course the Blink
Usually
Dagger.
It's the other way around. You get the Vanguard plus a Hood into Blink Dagger, because this Blink Dagger didn't set up any kills pretty much.
Yeah, true. But now that the Radiance is online for 23 Savage, we'll see them get much more aggressive as a result. And from Carl's side, we've seen a couple initiations here with his Blink Dagger. Of course, the one RP that we saw was sadly from their perspective, wasted. But we'll be going for the Echo Saber, still not there yet, as we see the impact move, Finger of Death play here, as the big crit into the Whitemon crit, if you want to call it that.
He also used the Hex immediately. My man is really quick with the fingers.
Yeah.
Probably using Quick Cast.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, you almost hope so, because it's almost inhuman. Makes me feel terrible about my gameplay, personally. But then again, I am an old, decrepit man, Lacoste, which you don't know yet about, but soon enough.
I don't know the full story yet, but I'm
You've seen a glimpse.
Slowly getting into it. Yeah, over the last couple of days, I'm understanding Sunspan.
As VP on this tier 2 tower, look to be taking it for free, actually.
Ton of damage. Retaliate plus a Dragon Lance. So you hit it once, and then you get like return damage 60 plus the percentage of your strength. We're not going to do any math. during the stream because it's a bit too much.
Yeah, and we don't have our calculator out here. The TI 83 Plus, not available this time around, sadly. Pipe will be next for DM on the Centaur War Runner. And then after that, ooh, what do you buy this game? There's some maybe armor items, but looks like they're going to go for Roche. Yeah, they'd give up their tier 2 bot to 23 Savage, but if it's a trade for Roche, I think they'll take it, especially considering how last game ended up going. And this looks to be a freebie. The DD with GPK is definitely going to help out. He's going to get the Aegis himself, and T1 just a little bit too late. Maybe they even realize at a certain point, but just...
It's too much damage. He just keeps the Fiery Soul, which is maxed out with the double damage, more than enough. I like GPK because he understands that he can't afford to get Boots of Travel, Yule Scepter type of a build, just gets BKB as the second item, which I really like. I've seen so many Leshrac players throughout the, not just this tournament, but also previous major, where they fall off short because they don't become tanky enough. You don't have a defensive ability, and now you basically have 2 lives, maybe 3 if you count in a good timed BKB.
Yep, that's a good point. I mean, very similar playstyles with the heroes. Obviously, their second spell is, or the stun is basically the same, right? and I mean, when you go back to Dota 1, it was literally the same at some point, I think. As DM's gonna recapture this outpost. Nightfall, we've talked about his progression in items. So I talked about whether it be an SNY or a Manta. It is the SNY.
Against Lion makes more sense. You just want to have that status resistance.
Oh, we have the Yules into the LSA. Will connect DM with the Hoof Stomp into the double edge. And that is enough damage to take out used as well, but not a whole lot of damage done to 23 Savage. But Zephyr with a little bit of a borrowed time cast there. Keeps him alive.
Blink dagger on the Centaur, ready.
Yeah, oh, Hoof Stomp only onto one, but the right clicks are going to be more than enough. The Curse onto the Viper as Wraithking starts a beautiful LSA. My goodness, triple kill for Nightfall. That's the first life for Mr. Wraithking, but something tells me that he will die very shortly. Huge fight from VP. Holy jeez, that was great synergy.
That was beautiful. I think what they needed was someone to cancel the Blink Dagger on a Centaur, someone who was willing to die for the team, just say, well, I'm done, you know, I'm gonna be the victim here, and you kill me. The rest of the team try to fall back. Great curse to set things up. We're gonna see that one again.
Oh, this was so sexy, actually. So the curse, it looked kind of weird because the Lion wasn't quite dead. He's getting healed up here, but then they group up.
Yeah, just beautiful execution. These two teams have shown like the top tier execution throughout the whole tournament.
Yeah, that was quite something. And with that, that is a 6K net worth lead now on VP. And we're talking about a really good time Radiance on the
I've been thinking, you know, I saw GPK playing in the kitchen. What does that stand for? Gonna play in kitchen? Is that it?
Sure. Does that give him an inherent benefit that he's just never hungry?
He's close to food. He's close to the cold beverages, so maybe that's why.
I guess you, of all people, could appreciate that because you need your good food. I've noticed that with you.
I really do.
And you enjoy burgers quite a bit, which doesn't have anything to do with this game. Just thought I'd throw that out.
It also doesn't have to do anything with the good food, but yeah.
That is true. That's another story entirely. Is Nightfall able to take the haste here? But this game is not over. I'm not going to say that. I have a good feeling that this will go 5 games, though.
I have the same feeling. Like Virtus.Pro, I think they're in a really good spot right now. Now Boots of Travel done on Lina, getting closer to level 18. I also love the way that they're like not using certain abilities. They have great understanding of what needs to be done to kill a certain hero. GPK holding Laguna Blade there on Magnus on the mid lane. Doesn't even flinch, does not want to pop it. He's been very impressive, not just this game, but I'd say like Season 1, Season 2, even before that, they have some problems on the land, but I'm pretty sure the boys can handle it during the TI. So far, 0 deaths in this game.
I feel like the more lands you play, the better that's going to get, just naturally, right? And if not, you really need a life coach.
Yeah, I mean, if you play more lands and you get worse at it, then maybe you should start thinking about a different career.
Oh, boy.
Maybe analyst.
Yeah, you could always do that.
Doesn't take much talent for that.
Yeah, especially with that Jenkins character. I mean, that's the NA analyst, too. Goodness gracious. We've fallen on hard times if that's one of our top guys. We're being too hard on Mr. Jenkins. But Juggernaut, Nightfall, he's not being too hard because T1 is getting crushed under his fury right now. He's going for the Scotty, and we'll be going for the shard that we kind of mentioned here, which typically you see coupled with a Maelstrom, but obviously with the Battle Fury, it's not really going to make too much sense. But either way, will allow you to attack through the Blade Fury as well, which will proc the Scotty. So that just essentially gives Blade Fury a slow, if you think about it that way, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. The main coming out from SNY, just kidding, it's not a thing anymore.
Man,
I wish.
I miss those days, actually. But status resistance is pretty freaking
It
nice,
is.
I won't lie.
We have main component on tier 4 item, the Penta Edge Sword.
That's true. We need MAME back in the regular game, though. It doesn't count if it's just a neutral. But sadly, the MAME wasn't really the good part about that item for a lot of the history of Dota. It was just the stats were just so efficient for a certain time.
I think for Dota 1 players and early Dota 2, a reason why SNY was being built is because you did not have to click it.
That's true. The hotkeys were not a good situation.
Yeah, you needed to have like a program to use the hotkeys that were not in the game.
And sometimes those programs may or may not have had viruses. Like, you just never knew back then, right? So perfectly understandable. But we can see 23 Savage now has that casual Sange, which we've been seeing not quite as often as a couple patches ago, but we'll be going for the Blink Dagger. So wants to get ultra aggressive here as a BKB.
And why
now.
are they going for a casual Sange, Suns fan?
Status resistance.
There we go.
Good,
it's
clean
also
stuff.
Damage, self-region amplification, region lifesteal amplification. The item just gives a bit too much, even after the 4% nerf. It's still a top
I mean, if you
item.
have built-in lifesteal, then it just makes the item even better on you, right? So.
But if that was MAME, like you would definitely like rush Sange.
MAME, I think nobody would buy
Sange.
it. Even with all the benefits, if you replace the
statuses
with MAME, nobody buys that garbage, sadly. As we have a smoke here from T1, 4-man smoke save. Oh, he might be the one to sacrifice himself here, which he would be very happy with.
I'm just gonna buy back.
As Nightfall, oh, he's gonna be spotted up, but gets the Blade Fury off beforehand. Might have to back up though. Gets the healing ward down just in case, as Carl's not able to hit the skewer. Good effort though.
Sometimes it's hard, not perfectly timed.
Yeah.
We see Enchantress with the 4-staff full pike. One also done on Centaur. They want to push people out of the trouble. Great against Wraith King when he decides to go in. Great against Viper. Just in general, great item. It got nerfed. Like, I believe mana cost on the item before was 25. 25 mana. Also huge cast range. Unfortunately, Skewer did not connect, as you already mentioned.
That's right. We just, I mean,
a bit of a slow game. You know, only 15 kills, 27 minutes in.
Yeah, which
slow
is
and steady.
I mean, the games between these two teams kind of start out slow a lot of time, and then the Roche area is where it gets amplified, which I know that's kind of the case for a lot of teams, but these two in particular feels like they really have a focus for that. But this time around, VP were able to sneak it, essentially, with the double damage on the Lina, and this, I guess, is the biggest reason why they've had this big advantage now. But T1, not out of it yet, obviously. They have the big Wombo combo with
Lina has a Deso with cosmetics, which she actually does not.
Okay, I was going to say.
Looks like a Deso, right?
I guess so.
If it looks like a Deso,
it's a Deso.
Probably is Deso.
True. See, GPK, like you said, no Deso. You debated me, but does have Shivas coming very soon. Only a couple hundred gold from finishing that. So that's going to be pretty good against the lifesteal of Wraith King as well, as providing a slow for all the melee heroes. Yeah, Juggernaut is the one with the quote-unquote Deso, if you want to call that, with the Orb of Destruction.
Yeah, bunch of Deso, Orb of Destruction.
Ooh, Paladin Sword. Okay, we talked about the regen amplification on Wraith King. Now, with the Sange on top of this item, very nice. That's one of those top tier.
Exactly. I thought this item was going to get nerfed in the previous patch. It actually got a buff.
Yeah, I got the spell amp, or the spell lifesteal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really weird. I wonder if they looked at like stats for like the win percentage. Maybe it wasn't as good as we think it is.
Maybe they were looking at the different bracket instead of Immortal bracket. They checked the Arcade or whatever.
That's fine. You got to cater some things to casual players. I mean, that's perfectly fine. We have 4-man smoke on T1.
They got a flicker. Arcane bracket, they have flicker.
That's true. We have a big skewer into the instant hex with the Finger of Death, but the Stampede into the Blade Fury. Nightfall will live. So much expended on him. And with the healing ward bringing it back, as we see the curse come in as well. Zephyr's gonna pop his ult, but the Lion's gonna be the first to fall. There's the RP finally onto 2, but not a ton of damage to follow with into the skewer. And there's the Omni Slash doing so much work. That's the first life for Wraith King, but Carl takes a tumble. Another Blade Fury, and this is looking very good for VP. Only one death in that engagement. They used so much on Nightfall.
Yeah, those 4 staffs actually keeping the Juggernaut alive. Status resistance also kicking in. He's super tanky. He has almost 3,000 HP. Good skewer back into Hex. Like, they try to focus him down, but the Stampede, 4 staff, he's out of the trouble. Gonna be pretty much a full HP. Because there is a healing ward, they have a couple of ways to reset the fight. Another good curse just to be able to kill the Lion who was out of mana, needed to use the mana drain to get back any. And like 23 Savage right here is already half HP. Skewer comes in like 1 second late, maybe with Empower they would be able to kill a hero, but fight is already over. Juggernaut gets a big Omni.
Yeah.
And this actually might be the game. I would not be surprised.
Tier 3 top is actually available. They have all the outer towers, but they're going to push in the wave the old-fashioned way.
But Mr. Roshan, he respawned, so...
Yes, he did.
We need to do something about second Rosh. Rosh number 2 gives a bit too much. I would prefer if it's just Aegis plus a shard, because Aegis cheese shard...
Ice Frog, if you're watching, we've talked about this before, so hopefully you're not annoyed with us, but please do not remove shard.
No, shard is very fun. It's a great addition.
Nobody actually cares about cheese. I don't want to, you know, whoever came up with that's fine. It's lasted for quite a while. You can retire the cheese.
Yeah, especially lactose intolerant people.
That's
like,
right.
They don't care about the cheese. It's all about that Aegis.
I do carry around the lactate pills in my pocket, so I don't really care personally.
So you don't get annoyed by me.
That's right. That's correct. Thank you, lactose. Okay. I remember when you're one of your first events, somebody called you lactose or something like that. That's good stuff.
Gets confusing.
Yeah, 16K net worth lead for VP as they are absolutely dominating this one. And what do you think the biggest thing here was from VP's side? Like, was it just the timing worked out really well for them? Was it really just that first Rosh?
It's not the greatest Rosh taking lineup. Maybe you can take Alpha Wolf with the Enchantress. You have survivability with the Juggernaut's healing ward plus a heal, but that double damage made a hell of a lot of a difference. It would have not been taken down so quickly, and T1 might have enough chance to respond to it, and it gave like 5 minutes to Virtus.Pro to be able to play aggressive around the map. GPK still sitting on 0 deaths because of it.
As we see 23 Savage now in the bot lane. Has the Hyperstone, so almost finished with the Assault Cuirass. Actually just purchases it now, so it's being delivered as we speak. So has the extra minus armor now and tankiness to go along with it. But from T1's perspective, as we do see the second Rosh fall, so 5 into Aegis on GPK, and Shard went to Mr. Winter Wyvern. Very cool. So that is
lowered the cooldown of the Cold's Embrace, and Splinter Blast goes off once the heal is done. It's actually a huge AoE. It's the AoE of the Splinter Blast, I believe. It's 1200, if I'm not mistaken.
1200 is the AoE of most auras in the game. It's huge.
It's like we've done some testing during the major, and we got surprised by the way it works.
Big skewer, really deep. He must have taken that talent as well. All right, he's just going to Blade Fury out, so they just don't have the damage to go with it. Yeah, has the 425 skewer range. I mean, you do have to kind of be careful here. You can't quite reach the fountain.
One skewer into Hex, into Finger should be enough, like plus a couple of right clicks from Wraith King to be able to kill anyone. Juggernaut might be a bit too tanky with that status resistance.
Yeah, it's all about that status resistance. He is going for the butterfly now. And, I mean, okay, let's talk about T1's chances here. Obviously quite slim. 18K net worth of 32 minutes is pretty monumental, but we've seen comebacks before.
We've seen, especially from T1. This is the team that knows how to make a comeback into the game when they're 10K gold behind. Maybe this is a bit too much, but we'll see the execution. Like, they need that big skewer into tier 4s, into Hex type of a play. Otherwise, they will just spin, slowly siege tier 3 tower already at half HP.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that these players have young blood inside them and the quick fingers, I mean, from both respective sides, actually. See if they can actually, I mean, the problem is the Blade Fury, right? If you can just get that off, you're probably going to live, because that shard just gives you that extra move speed as well. Just create that extra distance needed. So we're just going to clean up this range Rax as, oh, he did end up going Desolator. We can't tell the difference with his auto attack, I'll tell you that much.
He did not have Desolator when I mentioned it,
no,
right?
he didn't. He did not.
Okay.
That's fine.
Well, he's listening. GPK tuned in just to see what casters are talking about.
Does he have a TV in his kitchen as well or something?
I don't know, but it's definitely one of those things where, Like, this is not a Lina item. Like, this is something that Lina does not buy. And, yeah, I'm glad he actually went for it.
Man,
It's very hard to tell the difference.
I love int carries, like int right-click carries, like the idea of it. Right now, it's basic. Like, I guess Puck doesn't feel the same. Like, the attack speed
He
matters.
has damage talent. He has phase shift attack. So sometimes if you don't have enough damage, you might go for that Deso. Maybe Queen of Pain can become one. Wind Ranger is also okay. Queen of Pain nowhere to be seen. So yeah, pretty much these three.
See, Wind Ranger relies on her ult for the right-clicking. You know what I mean? Like, you have Silencer, in theory, is that other type of range.
We've seen how great a Silencer can be.
Historically,
maybe a Silencer. You know, with
well,
the
that's
shard,
what I mean. Yeah, I mean, the shard is actually pretty cool because it gives you the farm potential, right? But
like,
I have yet to even see it in one game in pro play.
It's very hard because we've only seen one Silencer, I believe, throughout this whole tournament. 0 Silencers. Last major.
Small sample size, and it was support, so can't really give it a true judge. But yeah, can't wait for this patch to see if we can get some of these heroes that have been unpicked. Maybe Pudge can get some love so Jenkins can stop complaining to Ice Frog. I'm sure he's sick of those emails. GPK, level 23 now, applying a little bit of pressure to this tier 3 as we see a smoke now from T1. Only on a couple heroes, but the Magnus is really the one that you have to worry about here. Fortification is activated. LSA is going to clip 23 Savage. Is that a Lincoln Sphere?
There is.
It has the Lincolns. Okay.
There's no Lincoln Sphere.
There is. What is that? Oh, that's the Aphotic Shield cosmetic. Okay. I've actually seen that before.
These are some pay-to-win cosmetic. You know, Lina with the no Deso, acting like a Deso, and then you have Zephyr, who has some sick ABBA.
I mean, that looks like Lincoln's, doesn't it?
It really does.
I'm not complaining, by the way. I love this.
Maybe we need glasses, Suns fan. Maybe that.
I have glasses. That's the sad part.
Maybe you need new glasses.
Yeah, new glasses for sure. All right, so Fortification is now down as the Lotus Orb is applied, so the double Wraithfire Blast. They're able to get that, and they have the 2 Siege Wagons as well, so see if they can do anything with it. GPK gets the Yules off, dodges the Wraithfire Blast. As a result, gets skewered back in around the tier 3, but the big Winter's Curse canceling the RP, which is still available. Laguna Blade is there, Omni Slash to follow. Carl actually uses it, but really to no avail. Does have buyback, but Wraith King, first life is done. Centaur, Hoof Stomp, not going to connect. That's not a Lincoln Sphere, by the way. It was the Aphotic Shield, just to be clear. Cold Embrace keeping the Enchantress alive for now. Magnus finally buys back into the game. There's another big skewer into the tier 4s. Could they actually kill the Juggernaut? They get Hoof Stomp off there. 23 Savage trying to do as much damage, but this heal, again, Cold Embrace with that talent. The Splinter Blast basically global at this point. Kingslayer finally being taken out, though.
But the Barracks, they will be getting the Mega Creeps out of this one. That was such a big curse coming out from Winter Wyvern in that fight. Like, when they were about to hit the combo, they still have Empower. Also, Carl, unfortunately, in that fight, used RP, had the buyback ready, didn't get too much out of it. I think the play would be save the RP, buyback, and try to go for a play. So right now, they're playing against the Mega Creeps.
I think he was trying to time it with the end of the Omni Slash, which that's pretty hard to gauge.
It's tough.
Right? But
Boomers can't do it. These players on both
true.
teams are Zoomers, so maybe they are good at it. Also, we've seen the power of Wyvern once again. Even without the Holy Locket, you still go for the talent damage. You actually take no damage. Juggernaut almost back to full HP. The missed chance, he's super tanky, sitting at 35 armor. Has also Trickster Cloak on top of it, so 20% evasion, magic resistance coming out from it.
I mean, the fact that Kingslayer actually had to look in his inventory to make sure that he didn't even have Eon Disc. It feels like that was a really long-range Winter's Curse, because that skewer, we've seen it with that talent, just able to take you to basically the other side of the map, it feels like. As you can see the Wraithfire, ooh, actually hits the Kobold, so 23 Savage, not a fan of that creep. Needs a buff.
Yeah, definitely. Lina hit level 25, extra attack range. On top of it, full Satanic, full Shiva's Guard. They find Spell Prism, Monitor Horn for Juggernaut. So he wants to have a BKB and another way of dispelling things. Just gonna keep it for now.
I mean, for VP right now, they have so much sustain, not even just with the Winter Wyvern, which we've talked about all tournament long, but the Enchantress, the Healing Ward, and even without that, T1's damage, just it does feel like it's lacking, but it's basically just Wraith King. And you're just, I think it's just too much reliance on this skewer. As you can see, the kobold. Oh
no!
He actually
This is
drinks
my
to his
favorite
death.
creep in Dota. It's the most badass looking creep,
I agree.
holding the golden chalice, having the gold necklace.
And he's the weakest. Very sad indeed. DM's going to jump in onto the Wraith King. This is going to be the first life. You can see Magnus on the outline, ready to go if he wants. 23 Savage, the Omni Slash is there. It's going to be basically just on him with the bashes. Laguna Blade is there as well. 95 seconds, no 23 Savage, but the skewer onto 3 rather, into the fountain.
Beyond this,
it's not really doing anything. T1 is still dying in their own fountain. GG is called. We're going to, well, I guess we were going to a Game 3 anyway, but this ensures that we'll at least have a Game 4
in a best of 5, we're definitely going to go to Game 3 at one point.
Usually.
Yeah, but overall, great performance from Virtus.Pro. That first Roshan, the way they took it relatively quickly, considering they had a double damage, and from that point, it was just good performance. Like, I don't think they made any big mistakes. T1 managed to get maybe 1 or 2 kills after